But all of the things, it's only been a few months, and like all of those things have like shifted for me completely. Just extremely helpful, and has, I feel like my brain chemistry is changing. Like,
So today we have a guest, and it's because I wanted to interview Eli, that has been in the program for a few months now and had incredible transformations, a lot of change, both mindset wise and in diet, energy levels, and all the good things that he wants to achieve. Welcome, Eli. Starting with some questions that I have for you. Can you please give us a little bit of an overview of who you are and just like how your life is, so that people out there can kind of relate to you and understand this might be for me too, because I'm just like Eli.
yeah, definitely. So, hi, whoever's watching. My name is Eli. I'm 28. I live in New York City, in Brooklyn, New York. I've recently moved here. I work like in ad sales. So I work like a hybrid schedule. As far as like my schedule goes, I feel like I'm fairly busy. Lots of social things going on, applying for jobs, gaining new friends, trying to join clubs and stuff in the city. Yeah, I've recently moved here from originally South Florida, and that's a little bit about me right
Cool.
now.
And I remember when we took the first time, there were a lot of things going on in your life, because it was now I moved to the new place, so I want to make new friends. And there was a lot of change in your personal life as well. And I think that was also something that pushed you over, let's say, drawing the line in the sand of saying, okay, now I need to take care of myself. I'm starting something new as a new chapter for me. So how was it for you to make that decision right there and then, especially when life was so chaotic and so new and there was so much uncertainty around you? You still made the choice of starting this program, working on yourself, and make some changes. And what I hear a lot of people kind of come with when I talk to them is, there is all the things going on in my life, and this is the reason why I should not invest in myself now, or I should
Mm.
not start this now, and I should hold off this big project because there is so much to do. And you were kind of the opposite. You said, I have so many new things, I need to adapt to this new situation, and this is exactly why I should do it now. So can you
Mhm.
explain like what made you have that realization, and like how you lived even just the first few weeks or months in the program? Was it helpful to have the support and have like some structures and being in a program, or did it add more difficulty and chaos to the life that you're building?
Yeah, at the time before, when I reached out and made the decision to join the program, I was definitely in a transition period in my life. I'd moved from the city. I just separated from a very long-term relationship. It was like in the middle of winter. It was like so many things going on. I feel like in the past will be like, I'm not going to prioritize that now. Like I have so many things on my plate that I need to focus on, and it's like put that energy towards. But I definitely was just pulled to wanting to learn more about the program. And after we spoke, it just completely aligned with where the new direction I wanted my life to go. I think it just has a lot to do with having more agency and control over like what I want to accomplish. And it doesn't feel like it's separate. Like this just aligns closely with like where I want to go and the things I'm trying to accomplish in life. And like the program has just added like a perfect supplement to that. And I think a bit like jump started that. I think I kind of came to you with a certain like excitedness and energy to take control a bit and kind of have like just a real reset moment in my life. After we spoke, it just felt like I felt fairly certain that the things we spoke about, like being able to have one-on-one meetings, like the community aspect of the program is like extremely important to me. And I feel like it adds so much general motivation, and it's great to hear other people's stories, and overall just like it's an amazing community, and it's definitely something I was craving as well. And I think that once you have people around you that are on similar life paths, as far as just like wanting to yeah, have more agency over what they're doing in life and like trying to accomplish things, and just generally live like a happier and more authentic life. It definitely aligned. It just pushed me further into this than away from it, because I knew I wasn't making that decision then it felt a little bit like my path wasn't as clear. And I didn't feel as equipped. I know we're all capable people, but I definitely didn't feel as equipped to do that alone, versus, really leaning into the resources and like the program that you've created.
And I think one thing that you gave me, I think, was on one of our group calls that we have weekly in the community on Zoom. You mentioned something like having a conscious life. I remember that kind of you use those words because we speak about creating your life by design, being the chess master and not the pawn on the chessboard that is kind of moved around by situations and things happening to it, and not feeling in control of anything and just feeling we're moved around and we don't really have control or agency, like you said, about what is going on. And I think as especially as LGBTQ people, there is that imprint almost that we have from society, from how we grew up, from our own probably shame, unfortunately, and traumatic experiences we might have been living, like having a place where we can actually focus on creating and growing and experiencing instead of negativity and all the other things, but having just a true community that is there for us and cheers on us, while also living consciously, meaning having agency and knowing what to do, when to do it. It's I think it's very helpful. It helped me a lot, and it still helps me just being part of all of you. The conscious life is definitely something that we kind of you built or you created, and I think this is it's a great way to put it. If you were to describe a little bit, what were the problems and the issues and the struggles you had before joining the program that you
Mhm.
feel you've been able to say goodbye to?
At the time before coming into the program, I was really struggling with my sleeping. I wasn't sleeping consistently or very well, and just my sleep hygiene in general. There was a time also last year where I was like having, days on end where I just wasn't sleeping, and a lot of, because of the situation I was in, just like mental health things that added to that. So sleep was a big thing for me, which I know that like affected other things in my life, like not being able to be on top of fitness, like social circles, like all of these things, it became really hard to maintain. I also didn't have like a consistent workout schedule. I feel like I've been like athletic generally throughout my life and like have been in and out of the gym, but it was a lot of time where I wasn't doing that. So my fitness wasn't as great. My sleeping wasn't great. I just felt I had like a lot of general anxiety and just a bit of a clouded headspace,
Mm.
oftentimes.
We always speak about clarity, having a clear mind, not only of
Yeah.
what we want to achieve, but also it's so important how we lead our lives and what decisions we can then go and make daily so that we can achieve the results we want. So definitely like having a clear clouded mind or having generalized stress or generalized anxiety or generalized low energy is something that unfortunately I hear a lot, but there is, let's say, a cure, or there is a way out. And I think this is what you also are a testament to, that there is the possibility of changing if you so decide to and commit to. And out of there's plenty of people out there that do the job that I do. There's plenty of different therapists, coaches, personal trainers, gurus of any kind in any community. But why did you choose to join me over any other coach out there? How did you know that this program, this community, and me were the people that could uplift you?
Yeah, I have come across uh your page and Instagram some time ago. And so I felt also just like a general energy and the things you spoke about on your page, like just definitely aligned with what I want to accomplish and how I would want to feel one day in my own version, of course. I think the general acceptance and like community that has been built, that you've built in the program, is a big factor. I think like as a queer person, it's hard to find like resources that you feel are completely like authentic and very like close to home as far as like your journey on this earth. It's felt like just every time we have a conversation, every time have come to you with, something that I'm working through, it's consistently been I've just felt so seen and heard and motivated like every single time. The community is a huge aspect. And I think that the knowledge and the approach that you have built the program as is like a very holistic and I think just like mind body connection based as well. And it's that very much like built on the basis of it being like a long-term change and building certain habits, like rebuilding habits in your life versus like, this thing is going to change tomorrow for you. Like it's not
Yeah.
based in real unrealistic goals and expectations. I think it's very much like holistic to the person that you are working with and training and has impacted my life definitely. And I know everyone else in the program, feels similarly and feels like, oh, we're here for a reason. Like, oh, this feels right.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that because again, this is also feedback. It's funny how I sit on these interviews and I gain feedback that it's extremely helpful because I need to know what we're doing right to keep it up and what parts of the program people appreciate. Because for a long time, I did this work without having built a community. And just to give you an example of goals you have and want to see materialize, I worked very, very hard to build a community in the Facebook group, in on the calls, like bringing people together. And I still do because not everybody feels comfortable putting themselves out there. So there still need to be nurturing in how to do that and how to show up. But it's definitely something that I set myself a goal because I experienced myself the power having a community when in a coaching program, and it just adds something that it's you cannot just get everything from one person. You need to understand that, oh wow, there's a tribe out there of people just like me, and I can help them, I can share things, I can uplift them, and I can uplift myself while doing that. It wasn't there though for many, many years. So now that I have this feedback from people that some people renew their contract just to stay in their group, so they go to a lower tier of the program so they can get access to the group and to the calls for on the group calls, just to be able to still have that because it's so impactful. And it all comes down to who I then choose to join the program, because I know I cannot just let anybody in. I cannot have anybody as a client, but I need to have specific people that I know I can change their life and they can bring change to the people in the group and vice versa. So speaking about change, as a result of us working together, what has been the outcome? Like how has being in this program, in this coaching program, changed your life, if we can say this biggest statement?
I feel like we can say that biggest statement. I've found myself, so I kind of shared earlier the things I was struggling with at the time, like sleep, like, general anxiety, like just not having a clear direction, like knowing a general goal of like where I want to be, but the steps feeling so overwhelming and not clear and attainable, I think. But all of the things, it's only been a few months and like all of those things have like shifted for me completely. I'm sleeping pretty consistently right now, consistent in the gym. I'm seeing progress. I wake up feeling like energized most days. I feel overall, on more of like a personal note, my general anxiety has decreased. I have a lot more understanding of myself through this and more just general like emotional regulation in the day to day and being able to just kind of map things out in a way that's a bit more observant than impulsive or emotional. And not that our emotions are unimportant, but you've mentioned most time like sometimes that have stuck with me that emotions can just be information. And I think a lot of that has been just extremely helpful and I feel like my brain chemistry is changing. Like quite honestly.
It is changing. It definitely
Yeah.
is rewiring. That's what we're trying to do, right? Is rewiring that. And it's not only that is why, by the way, fitness and dieting, or like not dieting, but like nutrition, paying attention to how we feed our mind and our body, it needs to have a space in the program, is because not only we want to see change, like you're getting stronger in the gym, you're going to do your workouts, we're seeing changes in your actual physique, but also the mental clarity that you mentioned, the better mood, the more energy that also comes to how we've shifted how you eat and your patterns of behavior around eating and how much care of yourself you take and where the decisions that you're making daily. So it's
Mhm.
not it there is a practical side and then definitely the emotional side and how to navigate yourself and your own emotions and your day-to-day life. I think this is definitely yeah, it is rewiring the brain. So somehow like there is neuroplasticity, right? So that is absolutely something that we're doing. And it's yeah, I believe that is happening. It's funny
Yeah.
you say you feel it changing.
Yeah, I feel it definitely. I think just everything we just mentioned, like it definitely is like a program that is, I feel like extremely well-rounded, and I'm able to tackle many things at once in a way that feels manageable for me and my busy life. And it feels like it's like adding to like sustainable long-term change and a growth.
That is definitely the goal, right? That we want to have the mental change and then the behavioral change, and then of course we want to keep it up, not as a habit necessarily and or like only, but truly like an identity. This is your new standard. This is how you now operate, and you're not gonna not be successful. It's meant to be, and you can feel great. So
Definitely.
where do you think you would be today if you didn't join it back then when we sat on the call and I told you this is the total, investment, and this is a big commitment, and you had to make the decision right there and then? What do you think would have happened if you didn't join?
I definitely feel like I wouldn't feel as equipped and clear about myself and my life right now. I think the general motivation would have been there still, like when we hopped on the call, and I was like very excited and knew that like big change had to happen in my life. And I'm just not sure like how long I would have ridden that wave if I hadn't joined the program and have been able to have like the tools and resources to put those things like to work and have just clear direction in it. I don't think that I would be as motivated, maybe as like consistent in the gym, as in tune with like thinking about what I'm putting in my body. Like I just don't think the changes, a few months changes would be happening as it would be right now. Before, when I was in the headspace before making the decision, I think it felt very like isolating a little bit, because I knew like, oh, I want these big changes to happen in my life. I don't exactly know what it's going to look like. Is there anyone else that feels this way? How do I do this? Like, how can I make this happen for myself? Like, is there someone out there that will kind of hear me out and like coach me through it? I think for some time it felt a little bit like of a lonely place to be in, and now it doesn't feel that way. So I think maybe that would still stick, like still feeling like a bit like lonesome in those thoughts for some reason. And now I just feel like also my self-confidence is probably wouldn't be where it's at right now, because I feel so connected to like what I'm doing and working together. There are so many more people out there that do also want to make big change in their life. And this just feels like the right program to be doing that for me personally.
I think it's interesting to hear is when you say I feel more aligned or I understand myself better. For someone out there that maybe is like, what does that even mean? Because I
Mhm.
think some people don't understand, or and not because it's their fault, they just never experienced it, or they don't even know it's an opportunity, a possibility. They don't even think this exists. How would you describe being like knowing yourself better than before to someone that doesn't understand it just with those words?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm thinking about it myself because I'm like, how would you put it into words that are simple to understand? And I think, I don't know, maybe we go back to that clarity of like, I know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and I know I'm in a process, and I know what my next step is and why I did the one before. Feel connected and kind of inspired by my own actions and proud of myself. And because I have that clear path without too much doubt, at least there might be some self-doubt, of course, but there is no paralyzing doubt, then I'm able to actually take those actions and putting things into place. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of took the words out of my mouth there, for sure. But it definitely has to do as far as like what does a more self-assured version of me look like. It's definitely that, having more clarity, and just because you have more clarity, things just start to slow down for you, I think mentally, which aids anxiety. And I think in that respect, like knowing what I have to achieve on like a weekly basis as well adds so much direction and puts things at ease, where when I came into the program thinking like, oh, how do I get to all of these goals, or like how do I accomplish X, Y, and Z? And now things are just broken down into bite-sized information and steps that I know will have lasting effect in my life. And for that reason, it all feels just a bit calm. And I think clarity leads to more confidence.
I think it's I repeated to another client this morning about how confidence is being the most comfortable person in the room, the most relaxed person in the room, and that
Yeah.
is attractive. And I
Yeah.
think it's that is why part of what we're doing is also taking care of time management and realizing how we're using our time and wanting to use time not only on have tos and must, but also to what do we actually enjoy, how we want to fill our life with.
Yeah, definitely. Even sharing with you something that I was like, oh, like how do I, and we spoke about it a bit also before the call, like just thinking of wanting to make big changes, but then finding the balance in that, like, oh, how do I navigate like social relationships and like having fun on the weekend and stuff. And like you're still able to have everything that you want to do in your life. And it's just more, it's truly just, I think, building a life with more intention.
Yeah.
Um, all around. For example, like sometime last year where I'm like having a drink a couple times a week because I'm meeting a friend and like doing all these things. Now it's just like shifting that a little bit in a way that feels comfortable for me. I know I would like to have like a happy hour moment with a friend on Saturday. That's in my schedule along with everything else in my week. And so now I know that that is a time where I'll have fun and like I can plan backwards from that. Like now I know during the week I'm just gonna like keep my schedule consistent. I don't feel the need to like drink another night because I know I'm gonna have that like luxury or like fun time that I enjoy with friends. It just feels like overall when it comes to that as well, like entertainment and activities in my life, like it just feels more balanced because there's just more intention.
Yeah, and knowing really truly understanding how to listen to yourself and your thoughts and your body, even to say I want to go out and have a drink, not because I'm gonna go crazy and gonna go ham, but I am gonna literally enjoy that drink with a friend, being very present because I don't have anxiety and I can just relax in the environment. I achieved what I had to achieve, what I planned. So definitely having a clear idea again of yourself and what you care about, and then have the big goal and being able to reverse engineer and look at the little steps instead of seeing the big thing helps not getting overwhelmed, and then having more chances to actually achieve whatever it is that we want to achieve. What if someone out there is watching this video and on the fence about booking a call with me or joining the program? What would you tell them if they were doubting, is this even for me? Does this even make sense? Is this going to be too expensive? What would you say to them?
I would say that it's definitely something that it's an investment for sure. And I think with any investment, there's going to be a bit of like a moment where you are, questioning something or maybe doubting something. But I think at the end of the day, like I'm grateful for making that leap. And I know like everyone else in the program is too. And if I could tell myself at the time or like anyone else considering joining, it would definitely just be to like do it and like have a leap of faith. It's just betting on yourself and not coming at it from a place of like fearfulness, but instead of, just adding to you are here for a reason already, like booking a call with you and like considering it. And I think that like following that instinct all the way through
Yeah,
is rewarding.
I think it's, yeah, I always, that's why I struggle, I think, with people when I see clearly where the issue is, where the struggle is. And I know because I have the privilege of looking and seeing the behind the scenes of so many clients at this point, and I know this would change your life. I know this is going to help you. I can try to give you any kind of support and, make it as doable as possible for you to join if you commit and if you're ready to do it. And not seeing people taking the leap of faith on themselves always makes truly my heart ache, because I see, like, I had those conversations also with you and everybody else in the program, and I know, imagine how sad would it be if we didn't get to work together, if these things wouldn't have happened, and how much change and beauty of literally like self-awareness and getting to the results that we want never would have happened. And I know that when I talk to people, and I also understand it is a leap of faith. It definitely is difficult to bet on ourselves. And all I can do is trying to put out these videos. Like I make interviews at the end of every program that I have with people, and I don't have one client that said, I definitely would not reinvest that money. Absolutely. Or you should definitely optimize this because it's really not working. And that to me is, it's a testament that once we kind of follow that intuition, if we're put in the same way, and at the end of that conversation we still feel like, heck yes, this makes total sense, we feel that connection, then it's worth pursuing that. And I'm grateful that you joined us. I'm grateful that you even decided to stay for longer after your first phase. You decided to join us for longer. And I am also grateful that you were able and willing to share your own personal experience here with us today, for everybody to gain any probably clarity and maybe a little bit of a push, not only to join this program, but any other program and any other coaching thing that might better their life. So any final words, anything that you want to say to people, or we forgot to mention, or you want to put out there clear and loud to yourself about your wins and the things you're proud of achieving, or anything that we forgot to mention maybe?
They just touch on like things that I mentioned before of just like there's not a part of me that like regrets, investing in this, and here I am. Like I'm gonna be here for longer, and I'm extremely excited to do that as well. I'm just extremely proud of like all of the things that I've accomplished up until this point, and it's achievable, and it's like it's doable for no matter who you are. Like it's you versus you kind of thing. But that I think mentality has shifted so much, even from like being part of the program and like working together. Like it truly just feels like a support that you can't really put like, price tag on. I'm just excited to be here, and I hope that other people can take away nuggets from this. It's real, and it's really great to be here and to be working on putting in work. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing that you mentioned. It's funny how one of the biggest things that I always encounter when I talk to people about wanting to make the change and take the leap of faith and doing this kind of work is always like, it's too big of an investment. It's too pricey, or I cannot afford that. And then everybody that I had as a client and made that leap of faith and made a way to make it happen with my help and with their own resourcefulness, you all say this work, the achievements I got, is priceless. And there is no matter, and I feel the same when I join any coaching program, and then I'm able to see the change and what it brings me. Then it's it has nothing to do with money, just like committing to something and feeling like I'm treating myself like this is my one shot at truly changing and making a change. That's the reason why we want that commitment. And of course, for me to kind of pay the bills and keep delivering at the best of my abilities. But it's truly it's interesting how you all mention it. I think at every end of this conversation, people say it's priceless, and it's the biggest thing that I always encounter at the beginning. So it's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to serve you, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to build in the future. So thank you so much for today.
Well, thank you, Nevan.